In this last lesson of the chapter, we're going to look at a couple more debugger commands you can use when debugging a program in Ruby. This time, I'm going to write a correct program and just show you the commands so you can see how to work them. We'll get another chance to debug a program in the exercise for this chapter. So let's get started. We're going to call this program debug3.rb. And this time we're going to write a program to compute terms of the Fibonacci series. If you don't know what that is, it's a series that looks like this. Hopefully by now you see the pattern, is that the nth term is computed from the n-2 and the n-1 terms. So we have 1, then 2, and then 2 plus 1 is 3, and then 2 plus 3 is 5, and 3 plus 5 is 8, and so on. So let's write a quick program to do that. We'll define the first two terms automatically. Those are usually always given. And then we'll just set a number. We'll say the fifth term out. So we want to display the first two terms, and we're going to write a loop that the current term is equal to t1 plus t2, and we're going to print that term in a space. Then we have to do some swapping, and there's certainly room here to make mistakes. And then we need to decrease n by 1. So now let's run the program first just without the debugger. So the fifth term out is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's 8. Let's go into the program and change n. Let's make it a little bit larger. Let's set it to 10. Run the program again. Okay, now this time let's run it through the debugger. And one of the things we can do is we can set a watch point and watch for an expression to become true. And then when we set that watch point, then the program will run until that watch point becomes true. So we set the watch point at n equal 1. So that's going to be the next to last term. And sure enough, 55 is the next to last term before the 89. And if we continue on, we'll run a couple more times here using n, then the program is going to stop. So setting a watch point can be useful if you want to run to a certain expression and then see what the state of the program is at that time. Now let's start the program again in debug mode. This time we're going to step through it a few times here, and then I'll show you one more command. Another interesting command is var local, and that will show us the value of variables at any particular time. So as we step through, take a moment to get through all this. Now let's var local. So you can see that we've decremented n by 1, t is now 2, t1 is 1, t2 is 1, and temp is 1. So we're right in the middle of a swap, obviously. Let's run it a few more times. You can abbreviate var local to VL, and that will show you your list. So those are two more commands that you can use. There are several more that we just don't have time to get into, but the ones I've demonstrated in these lessons are the most common debugger commands that you would use when debugging a Ruby program. So with that, we're finished with this lesson and we're ready to move on to the exercise for this chapter, where we're going to be looking at how to debug an algorithm that very commonly gets implemented incorrectly.